Hey, welcome back. Thank you for coming to the right place. I'm Dr. Letitia Wright. I am your host for today, and I have a great show for you. I am so happy to introduce Lila Holley. She is the author and creator of Camouflage Sisters. It is such a good book, and you're in your third book.
Yes, ma'am. We
All
are.
right.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about your background, first of all. I know you guys can guess that she has been in the service. Tell everybody about your service.
Well, yes, I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army. I served 22 years. I know I don't look like it, but I have.
She started when she was 10.
Yes. 22 years, and I retired in 2012. And after a 22-year career, most of my adult life, I guess I should have been better prepared or anticipated the emotional process of leaving behind a career like the military, 22 years I put in, but I wasn't, and I struggled a bit in my transition, dealt with a little bit of depression, was really hard communicating all that was going on inside my head with my family, and so I started asking questions of other veterans, trying to figure out, is this the norm? Like, am I different? Am I strange? Mm-hmm. And come to find out, it's a normal process for a lot of veterans when we leave behind the military. It doesn't matter if you do 3 years or 33 years. It becomes a part of who you are, and it definitely became a part of who I was as a woman. So leaving that behind was an emotional process to recreate myself, if you will, once the uniform came off. And so as a result, I started journaling just to get those feelings out. Mm-hmm. And so I ended up self-publishing my first book. And in the process of that, I came to realize that women, military women, have amazing stories. And so I wanted to put together an anthology. And that's how the first Camouflage Sisters was birthed over there. And the books are released on Veterans Day.
All right.
The symbology behind that, obviously. And so our first book, I have 13 co-authors. And we just talk about topics that any woman can relate to. We talk about leadership challenges that we face as military women, how important mentorship is among women. That's a big topic. We talk about balancing it all as mothers, soldiers, and just loving our job. And there's a balancing act that you have to do if you work outside of the home and you have children and spouses you have to care for. We talk about how our faith carried us through. I mean, can you imagine deploying to Iraq and not having faith behind you?
I don't think that's a good deal.
And I don't think it's not something that you really want to do. So we talk about our faith and how that carried us through our careers. And then we talk about the different transitions that both our career and our lives take on as women. And so our last book, this one right here, Silent No More.
Silent No More. This
just
is
released.
Silent No More.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes.
Love the packaging. I'm sorry, but whoever came up with this, kudos to you. This is beautiful. Well, it's beautiful. I think I love it. So this is the newest book.
Yes.
This is the newest book.
That was released on this past Veterans Day. And so what I always tell people is that the military woman story is layered. So there's the good, the not so good, and then the downright ugly. And, I want us to have more control in telling our stories from our perspective. And so Silent No More deals with the ugly part of our story. But if you want to serve military women, you have to know all parts of the story. And so what we created with Silent No More is a true healing project. These women have survived through traumatic experiences, military sexual trauma, domestic violence, PTSD, depression, things like that. And so we tell our story of moving through that trauma to healing. And so our hope is that as our other sisters read our stories, that they connect to our stories, they find their own courage to move to their own healing place.
And they realize that they're not alone.
Absolutely.
My little sister retired from 16 years in the Air Force, and she was deployed to Iraq also. And so, watching her go through that process and not really being able to give her the answers, it was tough. Do you talk about resources and that sort of thing?
Absolutely. We're creating a community of military women. I myself am a resource. I'm a certified life coach. And like I said, with my first book, I talk about that emotional piece of leaving the military behind. But I've ran into and connected with so many amazing women and people who are running nonprofit organizations that provide services to female veterans. I'm vested in my VA in my local community. I tell every veteran that's coming out of service, at least at a minimum, register with your VA. There's a wealth of information, a wealth of services there. So there are a lot of resources. It can be a little overwhelming, but like you said, first step is letting somebody know that you need help.
Okay, very good. Now let's talk about you as an author for just a moment, because there are a lot of people that are watching Right Place TV show. They want to be authors. They have dreams of doing anthologies. Give them some best advice and best tips that you would say, to someone, you knocked it out of the park, and, what was really contributing to the success?
Well, the first piece of advice is be intentional, have clarity in what it is you want your message to be. And so for me, my story is, I'm a military woman. That's what I know. That's my story. But there's so much more to my story when I started peeling back the layers. And, so be intentional and be deliberate about delivering your story. Don't let anybody throw you off of what that story is. You know what your story is. You know what your journey has been. And you know what it took to get you through that. And then the second piece is teamwork. Man, I couldn't do this without an awesome publisher, purposely created publishing company, published both Camouflage Sisters books. And not only that, she took care of a lot of the stuff that as entrepreneurs, there's like a lot of things we have to know and a lot of things we have to do. But if you don't like that stuff, get some people on your team that can take care of that stuff. I'm just being honest.
Right.
I like to talk. I like to speak. That's where my comfort zone is. I like to write. That's where my comfort zone is. But all the other stuff, they took care of absolutely everything for me, and I couldn't ask for a better team. So be deliberate, be concise, and be clear about your message, and get you an awesome team.
Okay. And tell everybody how to get in touch with you. And by the way, her website is one of the best websites I've seen in a really long time. It is worth just going to see her website.
Aww.
But tell them how to get in touch with you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Again, it takes an awesome team, because that is not my comfort level. I have a brand manager, and they help me out tremendously. They really pull the creativity out of me and allow me to work in my creative space, and they take care of everything else. So my website is camouflagesisters.com, and that is CamouflageSisters.com. So camouflage with a D, sisters with an S. And that's the main place where you can contact us. You can, there's a contact me button there. You can email us through the website. I'm also on social media as my name, Lila Holley, on social media. And Camouflage Sisters has a fan page as well. Go out and like that, and you can inbox me there as well.
Very good. So whether you need help, whatever it is you need, please get in contact with her. If you are a veteran, if you're a woman veteran, just contact her. Just connect. Yeah. Connection is so important.
Absolutely.
I am so glad you came out here. It's so great to meet you.
Thank you so much for having this platform for us to share our stories. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back. This is The Right Place.